My friends and team members behind me were a little more excited than I was because I just didn't like the setup. When those older horses went by us, I can't say that I was shocked, but she ran hard to the end.
We think what happened was the heat just really got them. Just to me, it was just a freak race. You know, it was just an odd race that hopefully I never see again.
Like she got the lead and then kind of got lost, didn't know where to go. I think she kind of got tired as well because it was a yielding turf course, but I think the main thing was that once she got in front, it was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? I think she's one that needs to have the competition to run at. She came out of that race good. She was happy and feeling good. The next race, which was scheduled to be on the turf, but it rained and it came off and we ran on the poly. And going into it, I told Steve, I said, you know, she works okay on the poly, but she also worked okay on the dirt. And she never ran any good on the dirt. So if we're going to go into the poly race, let's go into it thinking if she doesn't run good, we can't be upset with her.
We're up to Arlington Park today for Sugar Kate's third race. They say horse racing is the greatest game played outdoors. And when you play outdoors, you got to deal with the weather. A lot of rain this week, which has taken us off the preferred turf course for us. Moved it to the synthetic dirt, the all-weather surface, which Sugar Kate has never raced on, making her the only horse in this race that's never raced on the Polytrack.
It was one of those things where once it came off, it was, okay, either we scratch and wait 3 weeks for the next other than turf race, or we run and we try it, and that way we can say we tried it and we know, instead of always wondering, will she take to it or not.
She trains on it fine. It's an odd thing, but training and racing are two different things.
I have horses that train great on the dirt as well, and they don't run on the dirt. They train great on the poly, and they don't run good on the poly. A lot of times you know when they're not going to run good on the poly when they work in the morning, but the ones that do work good, it's just, that's something I haven't been able to answer.
Waiting for Sugar Kate to walk through on the walk over from the barn, and she's 6-1 on the board right now, which is probably fair. It's the one-turn mile, and all of her races have been 2 turns to date, and that's by design. And the one-turn mile, even though the distance is the same, with it only being 1 turn instead of 2, it's run more like a sprint. So it does make a difference. The 2 turns slows the speed down a little bit. Yeah, here she comes. You can tell she's got a little experience under her belt. She's done this before, and she just doesn't know she's not going to be on the grass. But she'll figure that out.
Around the turn, I knew she was done. She kind of ran the same race that she did on the dirt. She just runs to the middle of the last turn, and you can just tell she's struggling over it and just can't keep that pace. And that's exactly, unfortunately, that's what happened. You know, she ran about 3/4 of the race, and you could tell she was done, wasn't getting over it, or didn't quite have the turn of foot like she does on the turf. I think that's the main thing. She just doesn't show that turn of foot like she can on the turf. And I think I knew deep down that she probably wasn't going to like it. But like I said, you never know unless you really try it.
I think she is meant to be on the turf. She's a turf filly. Her next race, it should be on the turf, and if it gets transferred to synthetic like it did today, it's probably going to be the same story as this race. We'll probably scratch out of it.
So coming out of the poly race, we're aiming for that same Illinois bred allowance race. Hopefully it stays back on the turf this time. She's training good. We worked her today, worked 5 furlongs. The bad thing is that she did come back with some mucus coming out of her nose. We scoped her and she's full of mucus. We'll treat her with antibiotics since there was quite a bit of it. It's one of those things where, you know, she needs the time, we have to give her the time. But as far as her training, I mean, she's training great. There's no signs of coughing, anything like that, which is the confusing thing because she is full of mucus, but yet she's not coughing. So one of those things too where we got to figure out, is it really going to be sickness, or maybe does that have something to do with allergies? And again, time will tell, I think, on this one.
Today we have Dr. Trotter, Sugar Kate's full brother, in the Grade 3 Stars and Stripes Stakes. Huge step up for us. I mean, as a stable, we've never had a horse in a Grade 3, but we think Dr. Trotter will really relish this 1.5 miles. But in the allowance class that he's in, the farthest they go is 1 1/8 miles. So this is about the only way we can get 1.5 miles is to take a big shot in a big race. So being in a graded stakes and being in the turf club at Arlington Park, it's just out of this world for our outfit. I think the average stud fee in Dr. Trotter's race is well over $50,000, where ours is $2,500. So we're on a much tighter budget than a lot of the big operations. So to be sitting with the big boys and being a stake is just a thrill for us.
Yeah, it's really fun in the turf club. And there's these big cards on the table saying your horse's name and which race it's going to be in. My mom and my brother are going to be here soon.
Say we gave him an extra day off. We took it easy, a little bit easier on him. He was training well. Yeah, we had no issues with him. He really hits his stride in dirt going long. You know, a 1 1/16 is good there, but on the poly, he just seems to shorten up a little bit. Well, the race itself, we went back to the mile. He seemed to respond well to that. Much improved. I think the heat really did make a difference. There was a night and day difference from when he finished last to when he finished fourth. To me, it was a complete turnaround. And actually from there, the jock suggested that, you know, maybe even the mile here might be a little bit too much. So his race after that, we went to 7 furlongs. I think he can do the 7 furlongs here. Probably not on the dirt, but here he probably can do it. He was actually back, I think he was almost dead last. That was not here, but the understanding was that Florent got into some road traffic. Had he not get into road traffic, he thought he could have been right there. He was weaving in and out of horses, and then he, like I say, he only got beat by 6 lengths. When you look at it on paper, you finish 6, it's like your horse didn't run a great race. But when you see what happens for him to even get to that close to 6 lengths of the win, to me, that's a good run. He wasn't that personable when we got him, but now he's kind of one of the barn favorites. Very pleasant to be around, not mean, not a mean bone in it. He gets a lot of time spent with him now. He actually takes mints now, which he never did before. It's kind of like any pet that you have. The more attention you show them, I think, you know, animals relate to that, you know, and we've showed him more attention, and I think in return, he's enjoying it. You know, I think that makes a big difference. And it was funny because when we first got him, a lot of times he stood in the back of his stall. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong in the stall, but he was just kind of a loner, I think. I think that's the other thing too. When he was over in the other barn, I don't know that they had a lot of horses, so he was probably by himself a lot, you know. But now, that, you know, what do you want now? You want more. But now that he's around more horses and he gets more attention, you know, he likes it. He's actually the biggest horse that I have. When I first saw him, that was one of the things I liked about him. I've had small horses and never had much luck with him. A horse like this, he's got a long stride on him and he can cover a lot of ground. And it was one of the things that when I saw him, you know, looked at his legs first and the size of him, it's like, I gotta have this horse. I think he enjoys what he does. He enjoys running. He enjoys training. He's not one of these horses that take out there and they'll give the exercise boys a hard time. You know, he loves to train. You know. So when you see one like this, how can you help but not, like, you know, love him when he just, you know, no, over there. What do you want? What you want? You gonna sniff it a while? Go ahead. Now take it. There you go. Got it? Atta boy. Sometimes he puts them in his mouth and he doesn't bite them, he sucks on them. He may have one in there that he hasn't gotten rid of yet, and now he's just playing. Are you playing? Are you playing with that? Are you just playing? Huh? What's she doing? Oh, you are. His nose is all sticky. That's an old wives' tale you blow into the nostrils and supposedly they don't forget who you are. I don't know if it works or not, but it's just something that I know I used to do it on my harness horses. And you know, when I get a new horse or something like that, or I want to make friends with one, I get close to them and I blow in their nostril and they blow back, and then you know, you create a, what did you do, Bo? And you can create, seems like you create a good friendship that way. And I don't know, it might be fictitious or not, but it seems to work. The folks that rub them, they get used to their horses and they treat them like almost their kids. You know, they don't like to change horses. These are my 4 horses or 5 horses, and they like to stay with them, and they create a real bond between them, and they know everything about them. So if a horse comes back and say, you know, they'll notice swelling or heat or something like that because they see that horse every day. If something looks different, they go right to the assistant or to the trainer and tell them about it so that you can stop a problem before it escalates into a major problem. So that's why I personally, even when I had my own stable, I always liked it when it was individualized and you could take 4 or 5 horses and give it to one groom. I think it makes a world of difference. And I think Bo's responded well to it. So you're really hamming it up today, huh? We try to keep, if we can, the same jockey on a horse. Sometimes it's hard to do, especially when you're trying to get leading jocks. And I'm looking forward to the next race. We already got Florence back on him. The race comes up next week, and it's 7 furlongs, same condition. So he'll go back in there. And Florence wants to ride him back. But I like it when a jock wants to ride your horse back. It makes you feel, you know, he's confident, you know, and he knows the horse. You start swapping jocks every week. That's not always the greatest thing you can do either, you know, because they're different. You know, some guys get along well with some just don't fit that horse. You know. Yeah, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Yes, you are. You're a very good boy. Yeah, you are. You're my buddy, huh?